Senator from Minnesota, Franken, resigned today after several weeks of allegations levied at him being a supposed groper of women. Now, his remarks admitted that there were various instances in which people have come forward, though notably he did not admit to any of them. And he stated that his resignation or his actual leaving of office will come within several weeks. Uh, so that's another member of Congress that's been struck down by the recent charges of harassment that we've seen pushed forward toward our various public figures over the last 2 months. And it's funny because people do this thing where they either believe all of them or believe none of them. I could buy the one where with Tweeden where she had the photo that showed him touching her. The other charges, yeah, they're not really backed by anything of merit, but it still was something that had one person whom there was enough validity in her claim, it seemed to me, to go into, okay, well, maybe this could possibly be true. So he's out of the running. I have no personal attachment to him at all. I think most of the current members of both chambers of Congress are not really worth anything to begin with, but that's just my opinion. And he had a really disappointing, 8-year tenure. The only thing of noteworthiness he did, in my view, was go aggressively against many of Trump's nominees earlier this year. But other than that, I can't really think of anything that made him stand out and made me impressed by his way of conducting business in office. And that's really a shame because there are so many people across the board that I think would be more qualified for these positions than the people that are currently in them. The problem is they either suffer from two things: a lack of funding or a lack of willingness to go out there and aggressively push to replace many of the flawed members of Congress. And even when they have the latter, the former still tends to make people not want to believe them, not want to see the credibility of their attempt toward gaining the seat of this person. And it's scary because when you think about it, it basically tells you that if you don't have a certain number of dirty pieces of paper, you won't be able to measure up to the greatness of those who do have this cash, those that, according to these women, use their powers for evil. And it's not really something I take much interest in because I think it's horrible whenever we have someone that misuses their abilities. But in this case, I can't feel much of anything other than a relief that a person who did much of nothing in 8 years of holding that position is out of there. And it's sad because I really want this to be levied that, okay, well, these charges are now exposing the horrors of men, but it's more so directed at the horrors of an ineffective senator that did much of nothing except ride off of his fame from SNL, which I've seen, by the way, and I'm not particularly impressed by him there either, but that's another story. So I hope if this teaches us one thing, it's that no matter what position you're in, you can come crashing down. I know when this year started, I would have never guessed he wouldn't have kept his position or stayed in office to the next year. These were his last months, and it's very telling how quickly things can change. Same with O'Reilly. This year started, I figured it's gonna be another year of his talking about things that now it's gonna be Trump. Is gone. So I'm surprised by this, surprised by that. It has been chaotic, and I don't think we're letting up anytime soon, especially with this race coming up in a few days. So I'll have something else probably directed toward maybe net neutrality either today or tomorrow. But yeah, thank you.